So essentially you have these basic, again, synth features that are from the SY2. You have your modulation parameters, you have your touch sensitivity, you have your presets and envelope, you can modulate pitch and frequency, and so on. Now, they have added some of these features to the organ section and the polyphonic section as well, so you can have, let's say, a glide on the upper manual as well. I mean, this is not something that you typically get. That'll be the normal playing. So now you have... And it gets really psychedelic very fast. So here we have, okay, in addition, some of those classic Electone features. Of course, you have to have the ultra cheesy, corny, but wonderful beatbox. And, you know, if you do the bossa nova, you get a nice vibraphone preset. And all of it, now you're in a lounge. So, you know, you can do your, just have a nice little. Too loud, let's adjust the volume. Just hear some get more attack. Anyway, so you get the idea what you can do with this thing. Now, one major change that Yamaha did with this instrument from the EX-42, which I particularly am not too crazy about, is that they have replaced the loudspeaker that came with the EX-42. If you watch the video, you see they were called the R60Bs that had rotating drivers. And here, Yamaha decided to use stationary drivers and create the rotary effect with a phase shifter. So an electronic circuit that puts signals in and out of phase, and therefore emulating the effect of a rotary speaker. Here's the plain sound. And now I'm going to engage it. So see how rich it gets. Okay. Now the good news about this is that, you know, the rationale perhaps of having a stationary loudspeaker and not having the rotary elements is it's more rugged, it's perhaps stronger, easier to take on the road. Yes, these things were being taken on the road back in the day of mega prog rock, 8 roadies to manage one of these guys. But the good news is that if you want to have an actual moving loudspeaker that rotates, you can attach a Leslie loudspeaker to this instrument. And while these features here are triggering a phase shifter that are going to emulate electronically the tremolo effect of a rotary loudspeaker, it will also engage a relay that will send the voltage to physically start and stop an actual rotating loudspeaker such as a Leslie. Now the only difference here is that, as we know, the Leslie is a fantastic loudspeaker that comes with the Hammond organs typically, but the way they rotate, you have one horn that rotates the mid to higher frequencies, and then you have a drum that rotates in front of the low frequency driver, the woofer, while Yamaha, the R60B loudspeakers, I can show you here in the brochure, but I'll again suggest that you look at the video that we made with the EX-42. As you recall, these two guys have rotating drivers. They are rotating cylindrically. So you have, while the Leslie loudspeaker, you have one horn that's rotating this fashion, With the EX-42, you have 3 drivers that are rotating cylindrically in this fashion, and they are rotating at different intervals, and that's when I mentioned that the calm filtering effect, the modulation effect, is even greater because of that. So anyway, this is for the tremolo section. Now, this vintage of instruments from Yamaha incorporated a couple of automated features that became very endearing to people very fast. Their auto arpeggio is an arpeggiator. What is an arpeggio? Is when you delineate a chord and you then go through the notes of that chord. Let's say if you play an F minor chord or triad. So the arpeggio, if you went to the conservatory and you start practicing that stuff until, you know, and then you get to that, you know, as you keep practicing. So those are arpeggios. Now here you can do this automatically. You better, you bet, the Who, right? So here we go. You can adjust the tempo. You can adjust the number of octaves. You can tell if it goes up, if it goes up and down. So now, if I do like more complex chords, see how cool that sounds like. Right? Very cinematic. So that brings me to the next feature, which is I can control a bunch of these parameters using my foot on this pedal, on the volume, on the expression pedal. It rotates sideways. And right now, I have it engaged to trigger the arpeggio on and off. So here's on. Now it's off. But then again, the beauty of this instrument is when you combine all the different sections together. So now I'm going to combine, let's say, voices from the opera manual, the solo. One more thing that I'd like to go back quickly. For instance, in the combination business, what happens when I combine the solo manual to the pedals? So now I have the solo manual plus the pedal. So I'm going to get all the synth effects that I can do with my feet. And now, engage the arpeggio. So I still like to do it myself because it gives me more freedom to decide like what I want to do with my chords. So you can see what happens when you combine everything. And the beauty of the out arpeggio is that, you know, whether you are a beginning keyboardist or you're a very accomplished keyboardist in the height of your career, it's not about the fact if you can arpeggiate fast or not. That doesn't mean anything. It's about the fact that you have the resource that if you're busy playing another part, you can have this help you do that. Now, a lot of electronic musicians like to use the art arpeggio, you know, to get those cool analog sounds as almost as a sequencer, because you can then sequence notes. And you can do all kinds of cool just sequences. So it's a very, very cool feature. All right, now a couple of other features here that we can talk about is how to engage modulation in sync with the beatbox of the drums. So it's gone, but now I'm going to engage the sample and hold. Hear that? Now I'm getting modulation based on the kick drum. Just a kick drum. Now make it faster. Now let's get the bass drum and the cymbals. Make it really fast. So essentially you're now modulating, you're letting bits of your sound to be controlled in terms of pitch or frequency by parts of your so-called drum kit. Okay? Now I think I'm going to stop right here. There are a couple of other features, many other features that are performance oriented, that are very similar to the EX-42. You have your knee lever again that I can adjust with my knee, you know, modulation settings, just as I can do with my volume pedal here. I will show you another example. Here's how I can do the upper glide with a pedal. Okay, another example. Let's say that I'm trying to do kind of a loungy piano sound on the upper manual. Let's get this going here. So here we go, nice and gentle, like an electric piano. So now I can actually use my volume pedal as a sustain pedal on the piano. Here we go. See, the sound continues. So now this became a sustain pedal. I can also control the portamento on my solo keyboard. So if I'm taking a solo here, now I have portamento, no portamento, no portamento. So on. So, okay, now another example for the foot switch. I can do wah-wah effects using the pedal. Besides doing the sustain for the piano, besides doing the portamento for the solo keyboard, I can do all of that at the same time. So here I'm doing some wah-wah. Here. So, I have a feeling that Yamaha, the guys in Japan, were really trying to say, how can we get somebody to make great music and also get a great workout at the same time? Honestly, because it's actually when you play this thing for an hour or two, you really sweat and it's fantastic. You get a great workout. You're moving your legs in this fashion, you're doing your pedals, you're doing your hands, you're moving your knees, It's really great. If you're doing a show on stage, often you're playing standing, then you sit down. So that's basically the overview of the EX-1. Monumental machine, quite rare, not too many around. Again, a product of what Yamaha started with the EX-42, and then the GX1 prototype, which then led into the marvelous CS80 synthesizer, and the EX-1 incorporates some of the features of the CS80 family of synths that came straight out of the GX1 with just some of the most powerful organ features that I can think of, in addition to giving you a full, beautiful preset-based analog solo synthesizer on top that you can shift to the pedals, to the front. You can do anything you want.